communicate in the past. What you're saying is we were able to infer what happened 1.4 billion years ago. We don't take the rabbit way. I mean, I think it's amazing that, at that time we were just becoming multicellular, right? That's not insane. And then we progressed from multicellular through to technology and built it together, and then and then this was sort of extrapolate backwards. So although we didn't do anything back in time, we understood its existence then over that going forward. And
that's because our background.
Yeah, but that means that has a consequence. One of the things that I say is I think, I don't know, Sarah might be correct with information first, and I'm an object first kind of guy. So I mean, as things that get constructed, there has to be this transition in random constructions. And then the object is being constructed by the process, bakes in that memory, those memories and add on and add on and add on. So as it becomes more complex, life is about taking those memories and compressing them, increasing their autonomy. And so I think that, like the cell that we have in biology on Earth is our way of doing it. That's really a maximum ability to take memories and to act in the future. No. Mathematics doesn't exist.
No, but that's the point. The point is that abstractions do exist. They're real physical things. We call them abstractions. But the point about mathematics, I think, so I don't disagree. I think you're also a person of information first, but I think I'm only information first in the sense that I think the thing that we need to explain is what abstractions are and what they are as physical things. Because of all human history, we thought that there are these properties that are disembodied, exist outside of the universe, and really they do exist in the universe, and we just don't understand what their physics is. So I think mathematics is a really good example. We do theoretical physics with math, but imagine doing physics of math, and then think about math as a physical object. And math is super interesting. I think that's why we think it's differentiality so well, because it's the most copyable kind of information. It retains its properties when you move it between physical media, which means that it's very deep. So it seems to describe the universe really well, but it probably because it's information that's very deep in our past. And it's just, we invented a way of communicating it very effectively between them.
Isn't math isn't the assembly of the graph, isn't basically a 100% because I think that assembly theory invented that, but it did. It has to be. Okay.
So what is math exactly? It's a nice simplification, a simple description of what?
You have a computer scientist, physicist, and chemist. I think a chemist is going to for you guys.
Go for it.
I would say.
Lay it on us. We're ready.
I think the ability to label objects and place them into classes and do operations in the objects is what matters.
So on that point, what does it mean to be object first versus information first? So what's the difference between object and information when you get to that look on the next line?
Well, change my view. So I'm stuff first, the stuff. And then when stuff becomes objects, it has to then information. And then the information acts on more stuff as objects. So I think there is a transition to information that occurs when you go from stuff to objects. Yeah.
Information is emergent. Then?
Not emergent. Information is when memories become active.
Because always memory, but it's not action.
Yes, and then it's not information.
Actionable is what
you can use it. If you can't use it, then it's not information. You can't transmit it if it doesn't have any causal consequence.
of course.
It's stuff. There's no cause. Yeah, we can
Happening.
No,
Happening requires information.
No. Stuff is a loop. If you think the universe, I mean, I think Max Tegmark and is very playful and say about the universe University of Math. In the University of Math, then we might not bother having any conversation because the conversation will be written. And we just maybe go to people to do this because the conversation happened. But I think the problem is that mathematicians are so successful making stuff and so successful at understanding the stuff through those labels, they forget that actually their view of those labels have to emerge and that information has to be built on those memories. So memory in the universe, the constraints, graph, when the connection or the graph can move back on itself or interact with other graphs and they can intersect, those memories become actionable and therefore their information. And I think you just changed my mind on something pretty big. I don't have a pen, I'm going to write it down later. But roughly the idea is like you've got these two graphs of objects and stuff, they have memories, and then they intersect, and then they can act on each other. That's maybe the mechanism by which information is then, so then you can abstract. So when one graph can then build another graph to say, hey, you have to go through the next thing to go through. Here's literally the way to do it. Stuff always comes first, but then when stuff builds the abstraction, so the abstraction can be then teleported onto the stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Am I making stuff?
Yeah, so first, God made stuff. Then after that, when you start to be able to form abstractions.
So what was your memory the universe?
That was the memory of the universe.
Yeah.
Otherwise, wait, did you? What a bit you mean by this?
Don't describe my work
I wasn't tasting it. I don't know what you mean.
Okay, wait, we need to, how do we get out of this? We were time, causality, mathematics. So what is mathematics in this picture of stuff, objects, memory, and information? What is that mathematics?
It's the most efficient labeling scheme that you can apply to lots of different graphs.
The labeling scheme doesn't make it sound useful. Yeah, sure.
And you rejected my definition of mathematics. I'm shocked. But it's correct. Go on, sorry.
No, I mean, I think we have a problem, right? Because we can't not be like we're stuck in the shells we are, and we're trying to build a world. And so mathematics looks like it has certain properties. And I guess the thought experiment I find useful is to try to imagine if you were outside of us looking at us as physical systems using mathematics, what would be the specific features you associate to the property of understanding mathematics and being able to implement it in yours, right? And when you do that, mathematics seems to have some really interesting properties relative to other kinds of abstraction we might talk about, like language or artistic expression. One of those properties is what I mentioned already, that is really easy to copy between physical media. So if I give you a mathematical statement, you almost immediately know what I mean. If I tell you the sky is blue, you might say, is it blue? Is it zero blue? What color blue do you mean? And you have a harder time visualizing what I actually mean. So mathematics carries a lot of meaning with it when it's copied between physical systems. It's also obviously we use it to communicate with computers. And then the second one is it retains its property of actually what it can do with the universe when it's copied. So the example I like to give there is thinking about like Newton's law of gravitation. It's a compressed regularity of a bunch of phenomena that we observe in the universe. But then that information actually is causal in the sense that it allows us to do things that we're able to do without that particular knowledge and that particular abstraction. And in this case, the launch stuff is space or Mars or whatever it is. So if you look at it from the outside and you say, what is it for physical systems to invent a thing called mathematics, and then to use and then it to become a physical observable, mathematics is kind of like the universally copyable information that allows new possibility spaces to be open in the future, because it allows this kind of ability to map one physical system to another and actually understand it.
So is it helping the overlap with causal graphs then?
Yeah.
I think that's the explanation for what it is in terms of the physical theory of assembly would be some feature of the structure of the assembly spaces of causal graphs and their relationship to each other. So, for example, and I mean, this is things that we're going to have to work out in the next few years, and we're going to on part of this language. Language is basically because we're objects extended over time, and some of the history of that assembly space actually overlaps. And where we communicate is because we actually have shared structural processes.
Let me have another quick go at this, right? So I think we all agree. So I think we take mathematics for granted because we've gone through this chain, right? We all share a language now. Okay, we share language. We have languages that we can make interoperable. And so when you're speaking and dialect of Chinese, or different dialect of English, French, German, whatever, you can do. The interesting thing about mathematics now is that everybody in computers share that common language. That language was constructed by a process of time. So what I'm trying to say is assembly like math is those right from the mathematics didn't exist before life. Abstraction was invented by life. Right? That doesn't mean that the universe wasn't capable of mathematical things.
Can we just ask that whole famous question: is math invented or discovered? When you say something invented or whatever, you just right.
Are we arguing?
Exactly.
Are we arguing that?
That's what I was saying. Can we discover it?
No. Well, yes and no. I would say.
You call mathematics a language.
I would say that. Like, I'm pretty sure that there are some very common seeds of mathematics in the universe, right? But actually, a lot of the mathematics that we are finding now is not discovered; it's invented. But even though I think these two terms are very tricky, and I don't think they're necessarily useful, because I think that what people do, the mathematicians that say, "Oh, mathematics was discovered," because they live in a universe where there is no time and this all exists. But what I'm saying is, and I think in the same way you can create, did I make that piece of art? Or did I explain? Stick with the airplane. The airplane is a good. Let's say did I discover the airplane? Well, in a way, the universe discovered the airplane. A load of that together, a load of random human beings. What is something we discovered the airplane in the space of all of possibilities. But here's the thing: when the space of possibilities is so vast, infinite, almost, and you're able to actualize one of those in an object, and you are inventing it. So in mathematics, because there are infinite number of theorems, the factor of exponent is no difference between inventing a mathematical structure and inventing the airplane. They're the same thing. But that doesn't mean that now the airplane exists in the universe. There's something weird about the universe. That, I think that the more is the thing that I can probably, the more memory required for the object, the more invented it is. So when a mathematical theorem needs more bytes to store it, the more invented it is, and the less bytes, the more discovered it is.
But everything that is invented, it's just more or less invented.
Absolutely.
Okay. The way we're thinking it, when we're thinking about the difference between invent and discovery, is because we're thinking it all. So if you start to think in terms of causality and time, and those things become the same. Everything's invented.
And the idea is to make everything intrinsic to the universe. I think one of the features of assembly theory is we don't want to have external observers. There's been this whole tradition in physics of trying to describe the universe from the outside and not the inside. And the universe has to generate everything itself if you do it from the inside.
How the minimal way to how that merge in the universe. And if we want to communicate, if we don't want to necessarily communicate, what I would do perhaps in my house is I would send out lots of probes, plausibly deniable, and then send out the message that we're going to track all the aliens, and then basically work out if they're a friend, how they want to hang out.
Just being something that has to do with the memories.
Yes, like the assembly version of Arecibo, so that everyone in the universe understands what life is. So aliens need to work out what they are.
But to me, it feels like we don't have any of the tools to say that. That's the biggest.
Yeah,